Alright, welcome back everybody to another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. Just quick little notes here and there. I have a little thing on my tongue, so that's why I'm kind of talking a little bit weird because it hurts like a lot. But that is not impeding for me to sitting down recording even though I'm talking kind of funny. And also this might be a day late because Sunday, today's Monday, Sunday was Father's Day, so I took the night off, just to relax and stuff, be with the family and stuff. And I decided to just skip one day, but like everything, like the show must go on. So I'm over here recording for another episode. God, this really hurts a lot. But we're gonna continue, and we're gonna go ahead and do it because there's a bunch of stuff that's been going on, or that actually happened this week. And I don't even know how I'm gonna do this once again here, complaining. But if you want to follow the show, you can follow the show at QuattroQuattroDos, QuattroQuattroDos. You can find that on Instagram. You can find me at Cris Putalias on Instagram, and Cristian Putalias on Twitter. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the news. We're going to try to keep this a little bit short just because I can't talk much, just because this thing hurts a lot. And I feel like I'm moving my mouth kind of funny. But hopefully by next week we'll be able to get it better. So probably this week I won't be doing any interviews. But hopefully by next week we'll have a couple more interviews. Hopefully you guys got a chance to listen to the previous interview that I did this week. You should be able to listen to those. Also, if you're listening to this one, you're probably listening to that one under the Dynamo Theory podcast network. But I'll talk about it a little bit more, as I start talking about the Dash and stuff. There's a bunch of stuff going on over there. But let's talk about the world a little bit. Let's talk about Bundesliga. Once again, Bayern Munich won the title for the 8th time in a row. So here's the thing. When I first started watching Bundesliga, when everything happened and obviously Corona happened, the world shut down, and then we got sports back. And the first league, or the first big league to come back, was Bundesliga. Everybody got super excited, because it looked like it was going to be somewhat of a tight race. Not really, not too tight of a race. Because obviously Bayer was really high up there, but there wasn't many points difference with Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig and a couple of other teams that were fighting up there. And I talked about how, watching those first games, it looked like a really competitive league, not only up top but also on the bottom, because those teams were trying to stay in the league as well. But then when you start thinking about it, and you're like, Bayern Munich wins the 8th title in a row. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8 years in a row. You start kind of questioning, how competitive is really this league? Like, not to throw any shade to my Liga fans, but like, a lot of times La Liga is known for being like a 2-horse race, as Juan mentioned when I did my interview with him. But here and there you might see an Atletico Madrid, or I don't know, a Sevilla, or some other team that kind of pops up out of nowhere to kind of give it a fight a little bit. But this one, 8 years in a row, I might be wrong, I might be tripping, but I think that's just too much. It might be, there's a lot of financial backing when it comes to that team. Obviously, they have a great team, great players. 8 years, when you start thinking about it, like, that's, all the players that went through Bayern Munich and that came out of Bayern Munich. So you can do a whole repertoire of, like, the greatest, players from the Netherlands came out of there. The one that comes to mind is Robin. I don't know if Van Persie. I don't think Van Persie played there. I don't know, but look at all the players that they have now. It's just kind of crazy because even the players that, like Borussia had a lot of bunch of like really good players that they were bought, by Munich. So it just seems like a monopoly in a way of like Germany in a sense. But yeah, those are my thoughts for the Bundesliga. Hopefully next year it gets it, actually more competitive. Borussia looked to be very, very strong in the times that they play, but actually whenever they play Bayern Munich, for some reason they seem really, really like down. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe next year when we get back to normal, or whenever the Bundesliga starts again, we'll be able to see a new league, and I don't know, maybe another team comes up. Who knows? Schalke 04 was kind of fighting up there too, I think. And like I said, and a bunch of other teams are also fighting. So who knows? Maybe in the near future, or maybe in the future, players, instead of wanting to go to Bayern Munich, they want to go to other teams to actually win some titles with a different team in the Bundesliga. And then talking about championships and talking about champions, that we had another championship title or game that happened, which was the Coppa Italia in Italy. So right before the Italian league started, Serie A, we saw the semifinals of Coppa Italia, and also we saw the final for Coppa Italia. I believe it was on Wednesday, last Wednesday, of course. And Napoli beat Juventus after a 0-0 game. Napoli beat them in penalties. Terrible penalties by Juventus. I think they missed like 2 or 3. And like when I say miss, like miss. So I believe that was like the second cup in a row that Cristiano loses. So it's gonna be interesting because Cristiano. Well, even though I don't want to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, we end up talking about him because he is one of the greatest out there in the world, and also is his second consecutive loss in a final that he loses, or his second consecutive cup that he loses. So it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of revenge he brings back, because if I'm not mistaken, Juventus is also in the Champions League, which is actually coming back. So I know a lot of people see the Champions League as the pinnacle of soccer, basically, because you have basically the best leagues in the world pick their best teams, and they go against each other. So Champions League, it's like, well, me growing up a Boca Juniors fans, obviously Copa Libertadores was my Champions League, and I never really paid attention to Champions Leagues till I got older. But honestly, the only reason I would watch the Champions League was to see who would be the champion, to see who, like, at the time that Boca was like dominating South America, it was like, who are we going to play? So we play Real Madrid, we play Milan, AC Milan. We actually beat both of them. But yeah, like, it was, I would watch it just to see, who we were going to go against, basically, or who the team that won the Copa Libertadores would go against. And it's funny because they go to the Club World Cup, usually in like Japan, or like, a rich country, basically. And usually the team from South America tends to play the team from Europe. There's like a semifinal stage or whatever that they also play the CONCACAF champion, and like the Asian champion and African champion and stuff like that. But it's usually those two. But Champions League is actually coming back in August, so we'll have, and it's gonna be like a mini tournament as well, because it's gonna start, or the round of 16 is actually gonna finish. It's gonna be played August 8th, 7th, and 8th. Then quarterfinals is gonna be played from the 12th to the 15th of August. The semifinals 18, 19, and then you'll have your final on the 23rd of August. So make sure you write that down. August, Sunday, 23rd, Champions League final. Let me know who you think is gonna be in the final. Who's I'll check right here who's left over. But I believe a bunch of good teams are still fighting for that Champions League spot. So who do you think is going to win it? Who do you think is going to make it all the way? Who do you think is going to, be the COVID Champions League champion? That has a nice ring to it. And then let's go ahead and jump into the whole USA, Houston area type news, because there was a bunch of stuff going on. Here at home. For example, the Houston Dynamo happened to sign their youngest player ever, 15-year-old Juan Castilla. I'm gonna say it in Argentinian. Juan Castilla. I believe he is the son of either like a coach or somebody that actually works in the organization of the Houston Dash, out of Colombian descent, which I don't even know if that matters. But 15-year-old kid basically grew up watching the Houston Dynamo and kind of loving the team to what you're able to read. 15 years old, the youngest, homegrown for the Houston Dynamo, basically. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops into like how he flourishes in his career as a as an athlete, as a soccer player. Because at only 15, like if you're a grown person like myself, I'm 28 now. I just think back to what I was doing when I was 15, and I was like, man, I cannot imagine being a professional soccer player. Even though I wanted it, I cannot see myself like being a professional soccer player at 15. But that's one of the good things that having Tab Ramos as the coach is bringing to the Houston Dynamo, is bringing a culture of the young players being excited because they see that they could be the next Juan Castilla that gets a contract or gets to brought up to the first team to like go and train with them and get all that experience and stuff like that. And who knows, play at RGV for a few seasons and then make your way up to the first team, be an MLS star, get sold to Europe, and you live the soccer dream basically. So it's gonna be cool to see how Juan here responds, and also how the whole Tab Ramos era is going to bring in these new guys. I don't think he's the first guy that he signed. Well, obviously not, because we have Palomino, and we have I think one or two more guys that actually practice with the squad that are young guys. But it's gonna be cool to see all these young kids kind of pop up and and make their name kind of known, and hopefully, who knows, maybe the Houston Dynamo can become like a powerhouse, as our friends FC Frisco up north has been building that culture of building a bunch of kids, take them out of the academy and stuff like that. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be interesting to see in the future how the Houston Dynamo turns around. And then turning the page into the Houston Dash. To those that you don't know, or you haven't heard, or you don't follow the podcast or the YouTube videos, I had a conversation with Haley. I always blank on her name, so I apologize. So Haley is actually a season ticket holder. She's like a hardcore Dash supporter, and for a week actually, I had been trying to find somebody to talk to about the Houston Dash, because the NWSL is coming back, and Haley was gracious enough to kind of respond, and she was like, hey, I'm down to do it. So we had set up a Zoom call, whatever. We talked for like, I think it was like 30-40 minutes, so you can actually find the conversation on the podcast feed. I tried to do a video too, but for some reason my computer was tripping, so I wasn't able to get the video. And I didn't want to do like a video of just her, it's kind of creepy. I actually even told her I kind of feel creepy just looking at you and you not being able to see me. So I didn't make her turn her camera off, but she turned her camera off because I didn't want to be a creep. But yeah, we talked a whole bunch of stuff. She was very knowledgeable, about the team, about the Houston Dash, about the players. And sometimes like she would talk about players, and then it would just go right over my head because I wasn't well versed in it, but I'm very excited actually about this tournament coming up, which is actually starting this Saturday, because not only was I excited to like follow the Dash as the home team, but now talking to somebody that was very excited for the team and telling me all the changes, telling me all the good players that we got, talking about how James Clarkson, the coach, he really went out of his way to and he traded what seemed to be important names, but maybe those important names actually didn't fit with the team, and he got people that kind of fit into what he wanted to do. So we got a good couple of veteran center backs. We have really good players in the midfield. Rachel Daly, she's a great forward. For what I've seen of her videos, I haven't seen her play yet, but watching videos, watching highlights and stuff like that, she seems like a great player, like a really good forward. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the Dash kind of turns that thing around of being the basically no playoff Dash to being a top contender Dash, if that makes any sense. If you go listen to the podcast with her, you kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here. And also some news that happened was that Rachel Daly and Jane Campbell, the goalie, I was gonna say the original goalie, but it's the starting goalie. They both were named team captains, so they're gonna be the ones leading the ladies out there in the field. And the NWSL actually earlier on Monday today, the Orlando Pride actually came out saying that 6 of their players unfortunately got the COVID-19, and they were unfortunately having to withdraw the team from the tournament, which was, excuse my French, but pretty shitty, because not only the NWSL only has 9 teams, but now they were going to be left over with 8, which even though it's one team, it kind of brings the dynamic of the whole tournament back a step, because the schedule was set, everybody knew who they were going to play, the days, the times, everything was set, and now having one last team, you kind of have to restructure everything in a way, and see what fits, and if the coaches had some tactics or whatever already planned, they're gonna have to go back and switch that up and stuff like that. But who knows? We'll see. What happens in here in the upcoming days. And also something that I saw right before I started recording is that women's soccer Twitter went ham on these Orlando Pride players. So according to the rumors, I'm not no reporter. I don't claim to be one. I just kind of talk shit on a mic, basically. So it turns out that some of the Pride players actually went out to a bar or had some drinks one of these nights, and that's where allegedly they caught the COVID or whatever. That's where they got it. So basically everybody was saying, how irresponsible of them to kind of put in jeopardy the whole team for a night out, so obviously there's a lot of shit talking, a lot of Twitter fingers. So it's pretty funny. People are out there funny with the memes and shit like that. Shout out to the soccer hooligans out there with the meme games, with their meme game strong. Did I say that right? Also, they're comedians, so they're expected to be funny, right? So shout out to the soccer hooligans. Hey, have me on your show. Cheap plug. Have me on your show, bro. So yeah. That's basically all I have. I just remember in August there's gonna be a bunch of finals. I was just actually going through my little calendar here, and just be expectant that in the month of August we have for sure 3 finals. We have FA Cup final, we have MLS final, and we have the Champions League final. So just keep that in mind. We'll talk about it in the future. I still have to do an MLS breakdown for the tournament coming up, so keep that in mind. I still have a couple of weeks to get to that, and then last thing before I leave you guys, Dash on, by the way. But so I try to recommend something that I've been watching or that I've been kind of looking at or listening to or whatever. So I watch his series. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you guys have seen Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix, you will love also. It's called Take Us Home, Leeds United, and it's on Amazon Prime. So it's basically like a Sunderland Till I Die basically type of style of documentary, but this one's about Leeds United. So basically, people following Leeds and the whole controversy with the spying and Bielsa giving like the press conference and all that. And then I don't know if you guys remember whenever Leeds scored a goal and then Bielsa let the other team scored on them, which was like a very deciding moment, like on the table, giving that Leeds was fighting to actually get promoted into the Premier League and stuff like that. So if you're bored out there, I think it's only 5 or 6 episodes. They're like 40 minutes to an hour, I believe. And it's a really good, interesting show. Like I said, if you like Sunderland on Netflix, you will love Take Us Home, Leeds United on Amazon Prime. So other than that, I don't think I have any more news. So a lot of crap is going to go down here in the NWSL here in this week. I'll bring you the couple of first results since this tournament starting Saturday, and I usually record on Sundays. There's going to be a bunch of other stuff. Just keep watching. The Premier League is getting crazy too. Some teams are Arsenal is lost. Chelsea is winning, obviously. The Wolves are still fighting up there. Sheffield tied, but they're still there. Manchester United is still fighting. City still winning. Today they killed. Oh, let's talk about that for a second. So today, Manchester City played Burnley, and there was a plane that flew right before the game started that had the banner that said "White Lives Matter." And obviously, I don't like to get political and all that crap, but it was just so dumb. It's just so stupid. Like, why would you see the necessity of like doing that? I mean, we all agree that the lives of everybody matter or whatever, but obviously at this point in time we are trying to bring into the forefront that black people are the ones being like killed, oppressed, and and everything that comes with that. So what, dude, what's the necessity? So shout out also to Burnley FC that came out saying hey, like, we don't condone that, we didn't make that, we didn't do that. It was some fucking idiots basically that have fucking a lot of free time in their hands, and they just decided to do that shit. So basically, shout out to Burnley for taking everything out and saying, hey, it's not us. We obviously they were wearing the Black Lives Matter in the back of their jersey, so obviously they're down with the cause as well. And yeah, it is what it is, right? Stupidity is always gonna be around, so we're just gonna have to deal with the best way possible and just move on, I guess. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. We'll keep it short this time. My tongue is killing me. My tongue. But yeah, don't forget QuattroQuattroDos on Instagram, QuattroQuattroDos on YouTube, Chris Putalias on where is it on Twitter, and Cristian Putalias on Instagram. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys like it or whatever. I will be hopefully in the next week or so. I'll be doing more interviews. I actually want to do an interview. I already kind of talked with a guy to do an interview about the USL, which is the second division of soccer here in the United States. And, I'm actually interested in learning more about that, and hopefully you guys are too. And then, we'll talk about other stuff with, I want to talk to supporter groups, around the United States. At first I'll probably start with the Dynamo and stuff like that. And the Dash people. And hopefully we'll see if we can work something out and, you know, get everybody on the podcast, and hopefully the podcast can be seen by many people, and, you know, we can make soccer, you know, be a great sport here in the city of Houston once again. Or not once again, but, you know, let's just put it in the forefront. And you know, why not be in the level of the Rockets or the Texans? You know, why can't we do that with the Dash and the Dynamo? So thank you again. I will go ahead and shut this down because I've been talking too much. So thank you. Y'all have a good night, peace, or good day, or good morning, or whatever, wherever you listen. Deuces.